Hey, hello, what's up, and welcome into this week's episode of the Geek Garage podcast. I am Ted, joined as always by the show creator David. Say hello, David.
Hello, David. Oh, Ted. Almost got me. Well, you
Ah,
did.
a, wor-
Uh,
a worthy adversary.
yes. David.
Ah,
Anyways, so yes, I am good. I forgot the question. No, it wasn't a question. You were just like say hello, David. God,
yeah,
work ended like an hour ago,
yeah,
and so my head is like still fried.
yes, my
Um,
brain is mashed potatoes.
Yes. We don't typically record this early,
No,
so it's kind of nice.
in some ways, yes. I've been
Yeah.
up since about 4 o'clock this morning when my dog decided that he had to sing like a full-on opera to let me know that there was a squirrel in the yard.
He had to sing you the song of his
The
people.
song of his people. And at first, he woke me up and I was pretty pissed. I know he didn't mean
Sure.
to. He's a dog. But I was chill. I was like, it's okay, buddy. Come here. Come back to bed, because he's in the other room, barking in the
Hmm.
living room. I was like, it's okay. For like 10 minutes, I'm trying to calm him down. I'm like, it's all right, buddy. Come on. It's okay. Come to bed. And finally, at like 15 minutes into this, I was just like, will you shut the fuck up? you know,
Yeah,
uh,
because you can only take so much.
I mean, the fucking squirrel, man. I don't know. What do you want? Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm right there with you in terms of being whatever we were talking about.
Yeah.
Speaking of things we're
Brain fried.
talking about, yeah, this week
Yeah.
we have another a nerdy news update,
Yeah.
which is what David has chosen to call these. We
Yep.
have a few contemporary topics to cover inside the greater pop culture macrocosm.
Hmm.
Some of them positive, some of them less positive, I guess, but all of them
They are
important to
most.
someone. I don't know.
Yeah, they are most certainly nerdy. Uh, Nerdy talking points and contemporary topics.
yeah,
We like to do these episodes every once in a while just to
when we're
keep
out of
things
ideas.
fresh. It is a good catch-all
Yeah,
whenever we're coming up short.
true,
So,
true.
um,
We will get into what those topics are momentarily, but first, as we always do about this time, a quick thank you to all of our subscribers, both old and new. For the ones that have been here a while, that's all you get. For the new ones, hey, girl, hey, what's
hey,
up?
hey,
Thank you.
hey.
Thank you for wasting your time with us. You will soon learn that is
Indeed,
not just a funny thing we say,
yes,
but that's neither here nor
it
there. You haven't learned that yet.
right.
Yeah.
It does hold some truth to it.
Lots of it, in fact.
Yeah.
All right. David, what was
Yes.
the Facebook poll this week? Talk about that.
So the Facebook poll was again talking about something very, very important, which is what is was it the best? No, it was what's your favorite Starburst flavor? Um, I just randomly came up with this topic because I thought it'd be fun, and I thought we would get some interesting answers, and I was not wrong.
No, looking at the notes, we definitely got that.
Yeah. So the original, I left it up to so that the criteria was it wasn't anything objective. It was just your favorite. It wasn't like what's the best.
Right.
It was just your favorite. And I started the poll out with pink, red, orange, and yellow.
Mhm.
Just your four basic colors, flavors, whatever you want to call it, that comes in your standard package of Starburst. I didn't want to list all like the tropical flavors and the jelly bean flavors and stuff
Yeah,
because that's
we don't
just
have all
too much.
goddamn day.
Right. We have lives, believe it or not. Contrary to
It's
our
true.
actual acumen when it comes to podcasting, we do have personal lives. Um, so I added those four and I left it up to the rest of everyone to add some stuff. And boy, did stuff get added. Some aren't necessarily flavors or colors. They're more of like
Reactions?
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, reactions and
Reactions. Yeah.
comments. So I'll go through everything from the most highly rated to the lowest rated. Um, the top one, which was no surprise really, was pink.
Mhm.
That came in at 17 votes. Everyone's a fan of the pink. I know I am a fan of the pink myself.
Aren't we all?
In fact, I was Ted, I was hoping what I was throwing out there, you were picking up. You smell what the Rock is cooking.
I in fact did.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, I did not personally vote for pink. I wanted to vote for red because I knew red would not get as many votes, and I kind of go back and forth on which is my favorite, pink or red. But both pink and red, they're definitely top tier for me. Red did come in at second place at 9 votes, yellow at 6, and orange at 5. So like I said, those were the 4 original choices to pick from, vote on. The ones that were added, coming in at 4 votes, was why do all you monsters like lemon?
Fair point. A very, very fair question.
While it is a fair question, like I said at the top, this is more of a comment.
That's a hell of a flavor. Why do all you monsters like lemon?
Right, yeah, that is kind of a but 4 people did vote on it. So
yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, so I mean, we do have to bring it up because it was manually entered and voted on by 3 other people. So and then 2 people said they are all equally good.
Which is
One
false.
person, yeah, they're not all created equal, considered equal. One person said the jelly beans; those are pretty good too. One person said they are all equally good, but red and orange are even more equally good.
Which not how that works.
Not a thing. One person said pina colada.
Spot the alky.
I said pina colada. And one person said whichever flavor tastes the most like sadness and depression.
Okay, that are our listeners okay? Does that person need to talk to someone? I am not qualified, nor do I have the patience or the desire to talk to this person, but someone somewhere will probably help you.
This podcast today is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com. Get the help that you deserve.
Clearly, someone definitely. That's the only time anyone has ever been sad fucking with Starburst. All right.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with anyone about Starburst and sadness was brought into the
I personally
equation.
don't even like Starburst all that much. They're okay. They're not my favorite candy. I'll have them. Mm-hmm. If somebody has some and they're like, hey, Ted, would you like a Starburst? I'll be like, okay, maybe
Absolutely.
1 or 2. But I don't think I've ever like bought Starburst. You know what I mean? That is where I am with Starburst, personally. Mm-hmm. But still, I've never heard a story. I've never been around someone who was like, I'm going to cut my wrist and then eat some Starburst. Maybe not in that order. Maybe it's a Starburst and the wrist cutting.
Cut Starburst in 2 pieces. Okay, well, yeah. So that was the thing. That was our poll for this week. Yeah. Thank you to everyone that participated.
Especially the last person, because they clearly need a friend. So
yes, you know who you are if you're listening.
You are loved.
Yeah, you are
probably.
Loved.
I don't know your life. Moving right along.
Yeah.
Like we said at the top, we have a few nerdy updates. Or topics to cover. Mm-hmm. These are in no particular order. Nope. First on the list, at least, is Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
Just got released this last weekend as of recording. That would have been the 30th or the 31st or something of July.
Yeah.
End of July.
Something like that.
It's gonna fucking flop. There's no nice way to put it. It made something like $90 million opening weekend, and that is cumulative from theaters and Disney Plus. What is that called, David? The Premiere Access?
I think it's Premiere Access.
Anyway, the one where they charge you $30 to rent their movie for a month.
You own it. It's not a rental.
Still.
Anyways, moving on.
You'd think to yourself, oh, $90 million, that's not a terrible, that's a lot of money. And it is a lot of money. But not when you consider that the film cost about $300 million total between production costs and then advertising. Yeah. So it's going to be in the red. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. David, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
Oh, you didn't cut me off.
Okay.
You're good.
Deep breathing.
Keep going. You're doing great.
yeah, man, I don't know that this was going to be a huge barn burner of a movie in the best of times,
Sure.
but I think with the rise of the quote unquote Delta variant from the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, fuck all of you who are not participating in making that go away.
Vaccination. Yeah.
Um, maybe movies are going to die after all.
Right.
we're
Maybe our revisited movie theaters
yeah.
episode was
we
a
were
bit
we were
too
too quick
premature.
to reverse course on the reverse course. So
Yeah, we might be reversing
the reverse to
course.
reverse course.
Yeah, I swear to God, if we have to do
If we do another
another,
fucking follow up on this, I will find that Starburst hating motherfucker and we will be depressed together.
we we will revel in sadness
Yes.
until the cows come
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. So I read a little bit about this, and
Okay.
again, I don't know if this is like a COVID thing. People are, as it, like I said, the news is all covering the Delta variant, and like
It could be.
I think that probably has something to do with it. I think the fact that it's on
I
Disney
think
Plus
so.
probably has something to do with it. And $30, while steep in my opinion, if you look at it, I feel like a family of four, like your family, for example, it's you, your wife, and two kids. That's what, like a $60 trip to the movies, probably.
Yeah. I
So
mean, if that's not just ticket prices, of course that's tickets and popcorn,
right,
soda,
right.
candy,
So
shit like that. So
it
yeah,
it's
$30 is very generous.
right. It's an economical
For
decision at that point.
yeah.
I just 90 million is not, for a Disney movie in particular. It's not impressive to me. With The Rock and Emily Blunt, both of whom are very famous. The Rock is like Captain
Right.
Box Office. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I don't know. When I saw the trailer for this, like I was excited for it, and I still would like to see it. Um, it will probably be a wait until it hits Disney Plus in a quote unquote free
in 3 months.
capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I do still want to watch it because I love the Jungle Cruise ride at Disney World.
Sure.
Because I am a child. But like, I mean, I love Emily Blunt. I love The Rock. I think they're both very charismatic actors, and bring a lot to the table as far as the big screen. So I definitely wouldn't mind paying money to go see this, especially if I thought my kids would sit through it. They probably wouldn't, even though it's got animals and shit in it. But yeah, at the same time, like you said, with the Delta variant kind of ramping up right now, and a lot of people going back to work from home,
Mhm.
that whole shuffle I feel like is kind of happening all at once again, and
Right.
so a lot of things are falling by the wayside or getting put on the back burner,
Mhm.
like going out to the movies. So yeah, I think that could have a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of factors at play. It's just a really interesting in a way, um, because it gives us a look into what the potential for the next crop of movies coming out are, which leads us to our next story, which is about the Venom trailer. The second Venom trailer just dropped today.
mhm.
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and let you take the lead on this one.
Sure. So yeah, um, we did get a kind of a wider glimpse into the movie as just far as overall look at things, look and see how things are going to play out. It seems like they're going to roll with the same cocktail of like dark humor um, and all that, but one of the biggest things I noticed, and that was pointed out in a couple articles that I was reading discussing the trailer, was uh, it was the Carnage backstory, at least for this movie.
Mhm.
And from what I gathered, and just using common fucking sense, is that he gets his powers because he bites him, because he gets too close to, he stands too close to the glass Clarice, and he gets bit.
Right.
And so I believe that's what happens, where Woody Harrelson as Carnage
Yeah.
gets his powers. I don't know if that I don't know how true that is to the comics. I never was or have been a Venom comic book reader, not for a lack of trying. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Ted, maybe you'd be able to speak more to the.
I
Um,
I, I was never a big Carnage fan.
mhm.
Just to be honest, I don't think that's how he got his powers in the comics. But again, it's been. I think I read the Carnage origin once, and I was just like, yeah, it's as dumb as I thought it was, and then I was just kind of done with it. I thought Venom was kind of overplayed by the time Carnage rolled around, so I was just like done.
That's
But
fair.
uh, as far as that goes, I mean, it's an interesting take. I
Hmm.
did like the line. I watched the trailer not too long before we started recording, and I did like the line where he was like, "I've tasted blood. That ain't it," or something to that effect.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I like Woody Harrelson a lot.
Hmm.
I think that he usually gives 100% in any role he's in, whether it's good or not.
Yeah.
So
Case in point, Hunger Games.
case in point, several Woody Harrelson movies. Um, which is not a knock on him. I mean, he's just been in some really dog shit films, but he's
Right.
been really good in them at least. So I think
Yeah.
there may be a case of that. I thought the first Venom trailer for the first movie was terrible looking, so I didn't have any desire to see it. Like I said, I'm also not a huge Venom fan to begin with, so
Hmm.
I kind of just do not care. But the trailer had some interesting aspects, and it also had some of the eye rolly stuff that I didn't like. Like I don't like the humor between Eddie and Venom. I'm just like done with that. How he had like the
Yeah.
pizza box on his wall that was like no eating people or something. I was just like, okay, all right,
Right.
yeah, okay, that's dumb. But anyway, not to shit on it because I know a lot of people are excited for it. The first one made like $1 billion fucking dollars. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for it. I think it still has a rated R um, rating, just like the first one did, I believe.
I thought the
Um,
first one was PG-13, but I could be wrong.
was it?
It's
Um,
tough to make $1 billion as an R-rated film. So
okay. Um, well, either way, regardless of that, I I'm still excited for it. I wanted I like the first one, and now that they kind of have the whole origin story out of the way, and introducing the dynamic of the symbiote and Tom Hardy's character, we're kind of acclimated to what that's like. We can now get into like the meat and potatoes of the story,
right.
and then be introduced to Carnage and see how that's going to play out. So I'm excited for it. I still have plans to go see it. Um, so yeah. Next up on the list, uh, let's see. You wanna dive into ScarJo's a little skirmish with Disney?
Yeah, that's certainly one way to put it.
Yeah, this is probably the biggest
Yeah,
talking point that we have
without
on
a
our
doubt,
list.
this is also probably
Yeah.
the biggest news story of the last, at least pop culture related news story of the last couple of weeks.
Right.
And then Scarlett Johansson has a team of lawyers that are suing the shit out of Disney.
That is essentially what's going on.
Long story short, because neither David nor I are lawyers, the gist of this is that she's suing for more money, but it's not as simple as that.
Right.
So essentially, the gist of this, what it has been dumbed down to, that I've read a couple articles on, and David and I have talked about. I'm assuming he's read some of the same stuff I have about it.
Hmm.
Is that when the contracts were signed for her to appear in this and other films, it was for a sum up front plus basically royalties. You may
Right.
have heard these also called points or percentage or there's a few different terms that you've probably heard mixed about with this, but essentially just whatever the box office makes, you would get a percentage of that. The reason that she is suing is because this was originally supposed to be a wide release in theaters,
Yeah.
like most movies were up until COVID, right? Or
Hmm.
at least most big tentpole type films like this was expected to be. I mean, it even got delayed um, because of COVID, if I'm not, or at least the
It got
release.
delayed. Yeah, the release got delayed at least twice. It was done filming, but the
Right.
release was it got delayed. Like I said, at least two
Yeah.
times. Um,
So because the film was released simultaneously in theaters as well as on Disney Plus, she stands to lose a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
The reason being because her contract is based on theater sales, not Disney Plus.
Yep.
From what everyone understands. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I did not read nor draft the contract, so I can't say for sure, but that is what the gist of the lawsuit seems to be. Because streaming is not classified as a box office royalty, right? So any
Right.
money that was made from people that got this movie through Disney Plus Premier Access or whatever the fuck it's called, where they paid the $30 to get the movie same
Mm-hmm.
day, she does not get any of that. Nor, I'm assuming, do many of the cast or crew.
Right.
Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Scarlett Johansson's already fucking rich. This is kind of a shit move on her part. And I half
Mm,
agree with you, right? She's already got her money. There's no arguing that she's not better off than the majority of the people on the planet financially,
right.
right? I don't think an argument can be made against that. However, I am still in her court, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
on this for a couple of reasons. Number one, because she has the means to actually do this, whereas a lot of people at Disney and others, not just Disney, but others, have also fucked over the quote unquote little person in this.
Right.
People that did not have the financial means to try and recoup some of those losses or things they were fucked out of. And also because fuck Disney, just straight up.
Precisely.
Those are my opinions on it. David, what are your thoughts on this?
So yeah, I'm pretty much in the same camp. I will definitely. God, I'm always dropping shit. So I will definitely agree that she's. I'm gonna wager she's not hard up for cash, especially if she can afford to hire a team of lawyers.
Yeah,
Um,
because I'm sure the lawyers that can go after Disney confidently are not fucking cheap.
right, exactly. Um, but at the same time, like that for Disney to try and I don't know if they were trying to intentionally be sneaky or if that was like I'm hesitant to call it like an oversight because that would be a pretty fucking big oversight on Disney's part to like not have an addendum or like uh, a revision to her contract whenever they introduce the clause of like this is also going to hit premier access or whatever and which means that it's probably going to make even more money.
Mhm.
um so Scarlett Johansson needs to be entitled to that money.
Mhm.
I think thinking about it that way would be giving Disney a little bit too much benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, they completely thought they'd just get away with it.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm more inclined to agree
yeah,
with that. So yeah, I will personally be following this story very closely, um, as I'm sure a lot of people that are listening, a lot of our fans will as well, because yeah, she definitely deserves it. Hopefully, she'll use her voice and lawyer powers to fight for the other little guys as well.
Mhm.
The crew and cast
Right.
that would also be losing out. So hopefully they can be fairly compensated as well. So
Yeah, this has a lot of ramifications for future talent, both in front of and behind the camera, so to speak,
mhm.
depending on which way this case goes. Additionally, this has a lot of ramifications, probably even some that no one has even considered yet, with regards to the future of movies and streaming and theaters and things like that.
Right.
So I also, out of personal interest, will be keeping a close eye on this one. I'm very interested to see how it goes. I also read that this may be a rumor, but one of the Emmas, I never remember which one is which. Is it Emma Stone?
Stone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the who
That was
played
in
Cruella.
Cruella.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors swirling that she's also looking at some recourse, so to
Sure.
speak, same sort of case. So again, somebody who probably does not need the money, but it's good that somebody's whether intentionally or not, sticking up for the other people that have been fucked over by this that don't have that sort of path to recourse.
Right. Exactly.
So I don't know. I do think it's really shitty that right after this broke, Disney tried to scramble and get some good PR out of it by saying that basically like Scarlett Johansson's selfish, trying to get people to go to the theaters in the middle of COVID, and everybody immediately fired back like, you had your park open without mask mandates, so shut all the way the fuck up, which I thought was just great. Um, I
Yeah,
I don't know. I am hopeful that something good comes out of this, but I am almost certain that Disney will win because they always do. That's just the facts of the game.
it'll most likely end up in some sort of giant settlement.
Probably, yeah. My
I
my
feel
hope
like.
is that ScarJo is doing this for the right reasons. My brain and cynicism tell me that she just wants her piece of the pie. So I don't know. I don't know her that well, so I don't want to speculate too much on what her intentions are. I'm sure that a part of it is she wants her money, but I also kind of want to believe that she's just like, I'm sick of seeing you fuck over other people, Disney. You
Yeah,
bloodthirsty pieces of shit. Anyway, moving right along before they send a hit squad to my house to have me assassinated.
it can be both.
It can. It can.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of statements coming around saying that David Ayer, who's pretty heavy in Hollywood over the last couple of decades,
Hmm.
apparently he is very upset because he has not gotten the green light on a quote unquote Ayer cut for the 2016 Suicide Squad film that he directed, which
I was
as
cracking up
yeah,
as I was
I
reading
know
this
it's
earlier
so
on
fucking dumb.
IGN. I get it. Like, I totally get where he's coming from. And if they released an air cut or whatever they're,
Hmm.
he's calling it, or they quote unquote are calling it,
Hmm.
like, I would watch it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. So this movie, infamously, at least on this podcast, is well noted that we both hate it. It's the worst movie I've ever paid money to see, I think. But infamously, outside of this podcast, so the rumors and maybe the facts, I'm not 100% sure. He turned in his cut, and then the trailer dropped, and everybody went ape shit over the trailer.
hmm,
And so the team that made the trailer, whatever marketing firm, was then hired to recut the movie, which seems like a bad idea. Not an expert, but seems like a dumb thing to do. And then, of course, we all know that the movie, was a colossal train wreck, got critically torn apart.
hmm,
Nobody has ever admitted to liking this movie. No one. Because no one does like this movie. But that's neither here nor there. So apparently he's upset because he can't get his own cut released, despite the good reviews for the reboot. Is that what we're calling it? Reboot slash sequel that James Gunn is doing. That's coming out at the end of this week, I think.
yeah. I don't think it's supposed to be considered a. I think it's just a reboot.
I've heard a couple of different things. Like, I have no interest in seeing it. I've been done with superhero movies since like 2012. But I think I've heard some things where it's like, oh, it's in the same universe, quote unquote, or it's a reboot, or I don't know. None of this matters. And also because Zack Snyder, of course, got his cut of Justice League released.
Yeah.
Here's the difference, okay? Um, David, Mr. Air, you've done a lot of things that I like. I'm not going to act like you're a fucking hack, right? So I have a decent amount of respect for you and your abilities and what you've done. Here's the key difference, though, right? The Snyder Cut had a fucking huge grassroots campaign behind it.
Hmm.
Twitter had a bunch of hashtags for it. They started a charity and donated a lot of money to that. They being the people who were involved in the Twitter hashtags and things like that.
Hmm.
They had somebody hired a plane to fly over Comic-Con that said release the Snyder Cut. Like, there was a huge movement to do that. And Warner Brothers was like, oh shit, we can make some money off of this. Also, and I think this is the more business side of my brain wants to be like, they did this to keep Zack Snyder happy, so maybe he'd keep making movies for them. Instead, he signed a deal with Netflix, which, regardless of how you feel about these huge corporations fighting over art, is probably a better place for him to be able to do what he wants to do, right?
Hmm.
Netflix will give money to anyone. I have a Netflix series coming out.
Yeah, Netflix, they don't give a
No,
fuck.
not a
Like,
single one. They will give you 3
that's what.
seasons and then kiss your ass out the door.
Yeah, that's what I love about Netflix is like, I mean, like, 1 second you can love them because they just signed a new or gave the green light for a new season of your favorite show,
Mhm.
and then 2 minutes later you'll be cursing their name because they just put the kibosh on another one of your favorite series.
Yeah, but
um
they'll give anybody money, which is a good and bad thing.
right.
So that's the key difference, because nobody wants another cut of the fucking Suicide Squad movie from 2016. No one on God's green earth, and anyone who tells you otherwise, whether on Twitter or to your face, is lying to you.
Yeah, apparently there does exist a like an actual cut of the movie that he would want to release, but
Mhm.
only a handful of people have seen it.
Yeah,
So
I can't imagine that there's a good movie anywhere in there. I just can't. I cannot. Um, I I hope there is, and part of me kind of even hopes that he gets his day in the sun, so to speak, and gets to get it released. But I can't imagine anybody gives a shit. To be honest with you, I just can't.
yeah, I'm I'm sure there's people out there. Like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I'm not going to invest a lot of my energy, heart, and
Mhm.
soul into
Right.
rallying behind it.
No, I can dig
Um,
that. Uh, get that out of here. Moving on to the next thing. The Amazon series, so Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
Um,
So
some
as of like 2 hours ago,
yeah, this
basically,
is fresh.
yeah, yeah, the freshest news we got, it was they released the first still image, no trailer or
Mhm.
anything.
No,
Uh,
just a still.
right, it is live action, right, Ted?
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
okay. With the still image, it was very difficult to tell if it was live action or animated, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it's live action.
Yeah, I'm almost
Um,
positive it is.
yeah. And so it was only a couple big pieces of information. One, the still image, and two, the official release date of September 2nd, 2022.
So about 13 months away.
Yeah, so we still got a bit, but it's only a year, and
Yeah,
it from the money that they are fucking throwing at this show and the cast list, it seems like it's going to be pretty banging.
I
I'm
can't remember the
hoping.
exact dollar figure I saw, but I heard something like it's going to cost like $100 million an episode or something,
Yeah,
which is just I can't even get my fucking head around that.
yeah, they were basically like, "Hey, you remember like the Game of Thrones budget, like per episode, like,
I, on the one hand, it's like, oh, cool, um, money is being invested in, well, not new properties exactly, but I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that because it's
it,
bullshit.
well,
Oh,
I mean, Lord of the Rings is, I mean, if you don't count the Hobbits, which you shouldn't,
right.
um, is you know, it's it's been over and done with for a while,
Hmm.
and so I think it's kind of time for a Lord of the Rings resurgence
Uh,
of
uh,
new material.
right. I will also say that there's enough lore with regards to Lord of the Rings and that universe, quote unquote,
Yeah.
that they could do some cool stuff that's not related to The Hobbit or the original Jackson trilogy or the
Hmm.
trilogy of books for that matter. Those
Right.
three stories specifically.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of like Star Trek. There's just or Star Wars for that matter. It's like yeah, there's 9 movies and like 40,000 other pieces of media um,
Yeah. But
that are
there's even more
better.
to
But
explore.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's something. Although I will say I'm also kind of over the fucking pissing contest that a lot of these studios are having. To
Sure.
be like, oh, I spent more money on my series. That's not a mark of quality by any stretch. But anyway,
No, for sure.
last but certainly least, a What If
Yeah.
storyline. That's Marvel's What If, the upcoming
Yeah.
series from Disney Plus, was rejected because it was basically half the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, I had to add this in. This was another IGN story, and I had to add this in because I audibly laughed when I read it. Um yeah, I don't know why I thought it was funny. But like, I read the article, and I mean, it's you really don't need any more information other than this article headline. They were the showrunners of the soon to be released What If anthology series on Disney Plus. They were pitching ideas for What If episodes, and they went to Marvel or Disney or the both of them or whatever with their pitches, and they turned one of them down because they were like, that's literally like a lot of the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. um so yeah, that's there's just a little funny tidbit in there.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah,
Anyway, do you want to do shit that doesn't suck?
sure, why
All right,
not?
let's do that.
Cool.
Put the music cue.
Right here.
Right here.
Boop.
Shit that doesn't suck.
All right, so last week I talked about a new series on Netflix from related to Resident Evil, which I said was all right, and it was all right. But I'm going to stick with that theme. I've been on a really big Resident Evil kick for the last several months. I've been a Resident Evil fan for like 20 years since I was, God knows, Jesus Christ, probably longer than that. Actually, I'm old. I remember playing Resident Evil 2 for the first time when it was new, with my uncle and my cousin. When my uncle just got it, I remember that vividly. It's like a core memory for some reason. But since I moved, I busted out some of the old stuff, and I found a copy of Resident Evil 4, which is one of my favorite games of all time. So I've been going through and playing it. It's just it holds up in my opinion. It's just a fun game. And
are you playing on PS4?
Yeah.
Okay. I started playing that game on the Wii for the first time. And I got so used to using the nunchuck and the Wiimote that when I tried to go play it at other people's houses or whatever with I had such a I couldn't do it. I had such a difficult time. So I can only play it on the Wii. But yeah, I fucking love that game. It's definitely in my top 10 favorite games of all time. It's so much fun, infinitely playable.
Yeah, I've beat this game probably like 24 times.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I remember I played it for the first time. This Resident Evil 4, I played it for the first time with a friend, and then one of my college roommates had it on the GameCube. Fuck, I'm old.
Yeah, because that's what it was originally.
That's what it was originally on, was the GameCube.
Yeah.
And I played the shit out of it. Probably beat it 4 times there. That's one of the reasons I did not do well in my freshman year of college.
Things happen.
Yeah, then what are you gonna do? Got it for PS2 when it got the re-release on that, and then I got it for Christmas from a friend of mine several years later on one of the Xboxes. I think Xbox One, and then bought a copy of it for like $5 at the flea market or someplace for PS4 just so I could play it again. So I've literally beat this game like 24 times. I have everything memorized. I know what everything about it. I could probably play this game with my eyes closed, and I still enjoy it. It's just such a fun game.
Yeah, it is. God, yeah, it's so much fun. I think the only time I need to look up how to unlock one of the puzzles is the sundial thing that's
in the cemetery.
When it's I think it's close to one of the very first times you get attacked by the dogs, like the devil dogs or whatever you call them. I could never figure out how to unlock that thing.
I think it's 3, 4, 4. Hold on, I'd have to look at it to be sure, but I'm pretty sure it's 3, 4, 4, 3, 4 or so. It's pretty close to that. I know. I'm pretty sure it's 3, 4, 4, but I can't remember. I'd have to look at it, but it's 3, 4.
Got that? Yeah, got that muscle memory going. Congratulations, good sir.
Yeah.
Huzzah!
Thank you.
Huzzah.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, that's cool. God, now you got that bug in me. Now I need to go play it again. Maybe I'll use this opportunity to learn how to play it on the PlayStation.
Do it.
Do it. What are you buying?
Yeah. Got some rare things on sale, stranger.
I'll buy it at a nice price. Excuse me. So my shit that doesn't suck this week is I guess the first 2 seasons sort of American Horror Story. So I finally got around to checking this out. Ted, I haven't done this as my shit that doesn't suck yet, right?
No. Last week it was Fear Street, I think. I don't think
that sounds right.
I don't think you've ever done this one.
So yeah, I did just start watching this I finally got around to it. People bugged the shit out of me for long enough. I was finally like, all right, I'll put it next in my queue. And I, uh, everyone was asking me like, where are you going to start? Where are you going to start? Because like, it's anthology, so you can start anywhere you want. And I asked for suggestions, and everyone unanimously said start at the beginning at Murder House, because season one seemed to be the most voted on as the best season. And I got done with it, and I was like, that's not good news. Because I didn't hate it, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it. I liked it, didn't love it. It didn't necessarily bring anything new to the table for me. And also, I don't know, like I feel like, that part in I think it's either Dogma, or like it's one of the Jay and Silent Bob movies, where he's like describing weird science, and he's like, you got this chick with the gear on, and she just wants to get down, but oh no, it's a PG movie. Like that's what I was thinking about this entire time. I was like, I'm expecting like HBO production and quality, and like
It's an FX
plot
show.
yeah, plot devices, and like it. I'm like, oh yeah, it was on FX with commercial breaks.
Yeah.
But no, the first season was really good. A couple of people said like, oh, you can skip Asylum, which is the next season. I fucking love it so far. Like it. I'm not even being a contrarian right now. Like I love this season so far. But it has a lot to do with like being possessed and exorcisms and the devil and shit like that, and being, an ex-Catholic. I don't know what you call this. If you've been listening for a while to the podcast, listen to our spirits and possessions episode, that where I kind of sit on this topic. But yeah, it just kind of hits close to home for me, and like it's right up there with my interest levels. So yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm excited to power forward. Shauna, our honorary
Our third host, basically.
yeah, our honorary third co-host, she I think she said Freak Show, or the I think that's the name of it. I know Freak Show is the name of that Stephen King show or whatever that was like on in the 80s.
That was Creep
Anyways,
Show.
Creep Show. Thank you. That was Creep Show. I think Freak Show
Yeah, I
is.
think that's right.
I think it's the circus themed season of American Horror Story. Everyone that's listening that watches American Horror Story, they're probably
screaming
like
into their speakers,
right? Like, I'm gonna rip your fucking dick off. Which is excessive, but
a little bit.
My words. Yeah, I think that's Ted. Is that going to do it for this week?
Yes, check us out on all the social medias. You can find us by searching for Geek Garage Podcast. Our Facebook page, where the poll that we talked about earlier and many other polls are conducted, is fans and listeners of Geek Garage Podcast. Fans and listeners, excuse me.
Get on that poll.
Get on. That's poll with 2 L's. I'm not trying to get sued for sexual harassment, which I assume is a thing you could be sued for. I don't know.
Making those ass cheeks clap.
Don't cancel me on the Twitter. I'm actually a decent guy once you get to know me.
But this brings up the question: can you be canceled on the Twitter if you are not actually on the Twitter?
Probably. They'll try. I don't know.
All right.
Whatever. I'm too old to understand how Twitter works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you can check out David's Etsy shop, Geek Garage Creations, where there's, or Geek Garage Gear, excuse me.
Yeah, you're doing great.
There's shit on there. Go buy it. I don't know.
Yes.
Consume.
To summarize, please, yes, because I am a dumbass and broke the side view mirror on my wife's brand new fucking car that we bought like a month ago. I was backing out of the stall at Sonic, and it is a Honda Pilot, and I was only used to mid-range sedans and SUVs, and this is a full fucking fledged SUV and a bit wider than I'm used to. So, yeah, go buy my shit so I can afford to fix the mirror. No,
Anyway,
she was much less pissed about it than I was. I came home and I was like, "You see this shit?" She was like, "Whatever, man." I was,
that
I
just
was like,
makes you madder, right?
right. I was like, "Get angry with me." I threw my fucking milkshake on the
Dude, I don't
ground.
understand. My girlfriend's the same way. She always tells me, she's like, you go from 0 to like 1,000,000. I don't. What's the George Carlin line? I don't have pet peeves. I have like psychotic fucking hatreds. Like,
Yeah.
I get angry, like seething with rage, angry about the dumbest shit. Like,
I think we rub off on each other like that.
you
Like,
really got to watch how you say things, David. You just really got to watch.
we rub on each other.
That's not better. I don't know. But like we went like I got takeout one night, right?
Uh-huh.
And the order was messed up in some small way. Like they forgot a packet of ranch or something. And I was like throwing the fucking plastic silverware, like, fucking useless cocksucking motherfuckers. Like to the point where the neighbors probably think I'm a domestic abuser. I was that fucking loud and angry about this. And she's like, there's ranch in the fucking refrigerator. Which is beside the point. And then I'm like, why aren't you angry about this? She's like, because I don't care. And then I'm just like, hulked out
care?
with rage at this point.
Yeah.
Like I get mad in the grocery store when there's like one person in front of us with one thing in their cart. Like it's like, just let them buy the water. No, fuck them. Why are they there?
Just let them walk out of the goddamn grocery store with the water.
Perfect
like, it's
example.
Just water.
This is such a stupid thing to have been mad about. I'm sorry, I've hijacked the podcast. We're trying to wrap up.
Nah.
We were at Kroger. We were at Carrage's, and there was a guy in front of us who bought, I am not exaggerating, like 150 ears of corn. That motherfucker had a cart that was nothing but corn. Right hand to God, okay? It must have taken them 20 minutes to fucking scan this guy out. Because they had to count and verify. They can't just be like, oh, I'll take your word for it. There's 35 things of corn. Oh,
Right.
This fucking octogenarian bitch at the register was like, 1, 2. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you can see, you know, the anime thing where your vein pops out in your forehead? That's a real thing I found out. And she's just like, it's okay. And I'm just like, I'm going to burn this fucking place down.
Yeah. So I worked at Kroger for a longer than I care to admit. And, most of what I did was, a checkout dude. And we would get a lot of independent business owners, I'll put it that way, that owned, your tobacco shops and
Mhm.
And gas stations, and they would come to us to buy like their the 12 packs of Coke that they would then stock in their store.
Right. And sell individually.
Yeah, and I haven't paid too much attention to if it still kind of works like this now, but this was really popular at the time as a restriction. Like they would have really good deals on 12 packs, like 4 for 10 or 3 for $10 or something like that, but limit like 6 or whatever. So you could really only get the deal like twice.
Right.
And everything else would be rung up as like $5 or $6 per 12 pack, which is, exorbitant. But yeah, so we weren't supposed to do this, but they would look at us like we had no fucking idea. Like they had no idea what we were talking about when we told them, hey, you're only restricted to like 6 of these. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so we would have to spend a half hour like ringing shit up, like cashing them out for like $20, ringing more shit up, cash it out for $20.
This is why I can't work in retail. I tried it. It's just not for me.
Oh yeah. This is why I went to get my certification in programming,
right,
because I didn't want to be in retail.
So like exploits of my rage are legendary, as I have described. But I will say, like, I try my hardest, no matter how mad I am, even if it's their fault, to not yell at people in retail or service industries, because they're doing their best 90% of the time or better. Right. And it doesn't do any good to yell at the 16-year-old kid that's checking out groceries because he's a 16-year-old kid. Right.
Yeah.
Or whoever it is. That's just an example. But anyway, if I were you if that were me in that situation and somebody tried that, I would reach over that fucking conveyor and I would drag that son of a bitch behind the register like Kane dragging somebody to hell in WWF Raw.
I can actually imagine that happening.
All right. Anyway, that's enough of
cage match.
That's another episode topic we'll get to eventually.
Right, wrestling.
Check out all the things we talked about. David will put links in the show notes, I'm sure.
I will.
And as always, do the thing that he says.
Be kind, stay geeky, and eat lots of cheesecake.
Yeah, that's it. Let's call it a day.
All right. Yeah, go do that. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody. That's watching us on video.